So hello everybody and welcome to this week's coaching clinic. I'm here in Mexico and today we're going to talk about your spiritual protection in life and business. And I'm really inviting you to listen more deeply today. I think there's a lot on offer here, especially if you live in survival mode or you tend to live afraid. I know for me, going out into the world for the first time in a number of years, and particularly for the first time without Francesco in my life, my comfort blanket, if you like, I noticed more of a tendency to look for that spiritual protection, more of a tendency to be inviting this spiritual protection into my life. And for whatever reason, maybe that's an illusion of fear, or maybe it was simply a yearning to feel closer to my true nature as I traveled. Either way, and in all cases, this spiritual protection came up more and more. But it's not unique to traveling, and it's not unique to having challenges in your life. And so today I really want to invite us to reconnect with that spiritual protection that's always available and that's on your side. And that's a part of your deeper self, not yourself that's insecure and constantly in a habit of worry and overthinking and over planning. I'm not talking about that part of yourself. You know, that's the learned part of yourself. This part of yourself that I'm referring to is where divine mind dwells, and it's where you have access to this spiritual protection that will carry you through any challenge, any journey, any loss, any new chapter, any relationship, anything that you are pursuing or experiencing in your life right now. So let's, as always, begin with a gentle connection to our divine mind and true nature. And we'll do that with a short guided visualization just now. So if you want us to sit back, relax, make sure you're undisturbed, switch off any tabs that are open at the moment for Facebook or WhatsApp or anything like that. And just let yourself come into this gentle visualization with me. So, slowing down our breath together now, we close our eyes and we set an intention. And you can set your intention for whatever you would like out of this visualization. Do that mentally now as you take an in breath and an out breath. And slowing down your breath as usual to the count of 4. In, 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4. Keep that rhythm going for another minute or two. In, 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4. Letting yourself be here, letting yourself experience a deeper sense of your true nature. As you slow your breath down, you're literally changing the brain waves and the mind at the same time. Giving yourself the chance to just be. See roots coming from your feet down through the ground, into the underground, right down to a rock at the bottom of the earth, and wrap those roots around that rock. See light emanating from this rock, golden light, as it moves up through the rock and through the roots, through the underground, the ground, up into the feet. And in your own time, move that light all the way up through the body until you've completely covered every part of the body, every cell. Let yourself do that now. Witness the light moving through your body. Take your time. This golden light heals, energizes, rejuvenates, and reconnects. If there's any part of your body that's been giving you problems, or feeling tight, or perhaps an area that you're just worried about, send extra golden light into that area now. In your mind's eye, I would like you now to just see in front of you a beautiful golden path. You're familiar with this path if you've been doing these visions with me. So with comfort and with ease, step onto the golden path and gently walk along it until you reach a body of water. Next to this body of water, there's a bench. Let yourself sit on the bench the sun beaming down upon you. You're feeling relaxed. You're experiencing the elixir of light around you. And from this space, call upon anything or anyone that you trust or believe in or want to have guidance from. And that can include your own wisdom or your higher self. Invite this energy to answer any question you have. Take a few moments now to ask your question and receive the guidance in any form, an idea, words, images, feelings. Do that for yourself now. Thank this guidance. And know that if you haven't received anything specifically, you can also ask as you go to sleep tonight. Your spiritual protection is always around you and available. So stepping up from the bench now and walking towards the body of water and back onto the golden path. Let yourself move along the path gracefully, noticing your surroundings and bringing yourself down a couple of steps back into the space, into the feeling of your body. Feel your thighs on the chair or the bed, feel your legs. Move your fingers, your toes if you want to. And see roots coming from your feet, down through the ground, into the underground, right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth. And wrap those roots around that rock. You're still completely enveloped in this spiritual protection, this elixir of light. And taking your time, let's come back into this moment. If there's anything you want to write down that you heard or you saw, maybe even the question you asked, you can do that now. So I'd like to share with you a couple of ways this spiritual protection shows up. Because as you recognize it in your everyday life, it will grow stronger. It's like anything, what we give our attention to grows and grows. You know, the more worried you are about something, the more it starts to escalate. So since we can use our mind to focus and to put our attention in places, why not begin the discipline of using it to notice this spiritual protection? Some things will happen in your life where you're just overcome by this spiritual protection, regardless of where your attention is. I had that experience in my own life. When Francesco died, I was completely overcome by a feeling of love that I had never experienced in my life before. It was so deep, it was so powerful, it was so comforting that it carried me through for weeks after his death. That was a form of spiritual protection, supporting me at a time of great need. I didn't know that in the moment, but I came to realize that that deep level of love and comfort was the spiritual protection surrounding me, supporting me. So sometimes we have events in our life that occur. They might not necessarily be negative events, but I think it's comforting to know that even in the midst of great challenging events, this spiritual protection rushes in to surround us, to carry us forward. That's an example of a bigger sort of swishing in where you just have no control over the spiritual protection. Smaller things, if I may give some examples, you know, I'll give an example here in Mexico. You know, I was taking a boat ride to an island the other day, and I literally, whatever happened, I just began to choke here. I had been eating something and I drank some water, went down the wrong way, and I literally began to choke on the boat. And the spiritual protector, I couldn't speak for myself. I couldn't say what I needed. The spiritual protection ran in the form of other humans who came and basically hit my back, made sure I was okay, and gave me some tissues. That's another example of the spiritual protection coming in. I didn't mentally invite it in. I didn't mentally say, please come and help me, but I recognized that in the form of humans, this beautiful energy wants to help us. Journeying here to Mexico, I just noticed throughout my experience that I was inviting a gentle journey. I was asking for an easy time, a time of comfort in my traveling, particularly airplanes and all of that, and getting to and from and all of that. And as I called in that, or invited in just mentally, I saw how each time my journey was made much more comfortably. An example being, I got to the airport in Mexico City to get down to Cancun, and there was this huge queue, and they wanted you to, well, they were inviting you to do your own check-in of the bag, and I really didn't want to do that with my luggage. I didn't want to have to weigh my own bag and put my own stickers on the bag and then let it go through. I wanted to go to a check-in desk and let the people at check-in do all that. And again, that spiritual protection, I simply invited that possibility in, Thank you that my journey is easy here. And although I was being guided by the stewardess to go in one direction, I said, look, you know, could I go that way with my bag? And she kind of looked at me like, well, you don't really, you know, you're not needing to do that. You need to do what everybody else is doing. But she let me through. And as I got up to the desk, there was the opportunity to be supported again with another example of the people at the desk saying, no, you have to go back to another part of the airport and do this. And then a lovely gentleman simply saying, no, just come here, I'll take care of it for you. Without playing like damsel in distress energy, you know, just simply being present, having the intention, calling on the spiritual protection. Now, these are very small examples, but I want you to see in the everydayness of those examples how this spiritual protection can take us from living in survival mode, where we could just live anxious and stressed and panicky and everything being difficult and even choking, to simply living at ease, even in the midst of the challenge, even in the midst of what's going on. This spiritual protection is very much on our side, is very much for us. When it comes to business and your service in the world, and nowadays you'll hear me talk more about your service than your business, because your service is so much bigger than a business, you know. So when it comes to the spiritual protection, where your service is concerned, it is available for you. It is waiting for your invitation. It is waiting for your noticing of its presence. It shows up in the most incredible ways. Now, for many of you, you might think that constantly focusing on clients and money is the way the spiritual protection will be able to help you. But you see, it doesn't really work like that. This spiritual protection isn't obvious when you're living in worry. This spiritual protection becomes more available to you, to send you the right way, to give you the right words, to show you the right direction, as you live present, as you begin to lean on and rely on it versus this habit of worry. This spiritual protection does not need your interference. Rather, it needs you a bit more out of the way. And that's a little bit of a relearning for us, because we have been taught innocently that if we think about something long enough and hard enough and we ruminate over it and we worry about it, then we're doing something about it. Then it's going to change. That's not how it works, friends. Sadly, most of us have been brought up with mothers who were also brought up with their mothers, who were brought up with their mothers, who learned that worry was a form of caring. Worry is optional. Worry does not determine the outcome of your result. We may have all learned that the more we worry about something, then we're doing something about it, or at least then maybe it'll change in some way. At least then it looks like we care. Not true. the biggest illusion out there. That worry just creates innocently a static. It's a bit like when you're listening to a radio station and it doesn't quite tune into the station fully. So there's all this static that comes and you can hear the song a little bit here and there, but not much. That's what worry does to divine mind. It kind of gets in the way of the signal. So we want to allow ourselves the possibility just to consider, even for a moment, that taking our foot off the gas, especially when we're in a time of stress or challenge or worry, is the best thing we can do for ourselves. It tends to be the stress and the challenge and the worry about the business, about the money, about the service, about the man, about the woman, about the whatever, tends to be the time that we humans start to go faster. We start to speed up. We start to worry more. When in fact, that is the time to come back to our true spiritual nature, our quieter self, and let the spiritual protection do the work. That takes a level of trust. For a number of years, I've been mentally noting the evidence, so I feel very trustworthy of this particular energy. I feel a lot less afraid most of the time. You might be just starting out in terms of trusting this particular force to carry you through life more gracefully. And if you are needing to deepen your trust, I recommend you take a journal and you make it your spiritual protection notebook or journal, and you begin to note the ways that this spiritual protection is showing up for you. And it might be simple and it might be funny. You know, I mean, I give you another example. I was lying on the beach yesterday, the day before, and I was thinking to myself, maybe I should go to the resort earlier. And then my intellect was coming in. No, come on, go to the resort. You've booked to go to the resort tomorrow. You go to the resort tomorrow and you stay until your flight on Saturday. And it kept coming in for a couple of days, actually, not just yesterday. Maybe you should go to the resort on Tuesday. I get up this morning and I do my gentle meditation. And in my meditation, I always ask, what do I need to know today? And it comes in really quickly, go home. And I'm thinking, it doesn't come with a feeling of fear, but I'm thinking, go home. What's going on at home? So I go onto my computer because I'm starting to think this isn't about something being wrong at home. I'm starting to think, I need to check my flights. And lo and behold, I go on and I realize I made a mistake in my booking for the resort because my flight is leaving on Friday, not Saturday. So of course, the spiritual protection was trying to get me for the last number of days to consider, going to the resort today instead of tomorrow. Now, I wasn't really hearing it until this morning in the meditation when I got that message, go home. And I then discovered this is about me checking my way home. And I find out my way home is actually 24 hours earlier than I had realized. So I've made a couple of gentle mistakes, like I've overbooked at a resort and I don't have a flight, between Cancun and Mexico on the right day. Those things are figure outable. I can get stressed and worried about that, but I choose not to. What I'm choosing to see here is, wow, look at the spiritual protection trying to tap and get my attention for the last number of days. Go to the resort on Tuesday, not Wednesday. Check your flight details. It was essentially the meaning of go home. Check your way home. This protection isn't just there for logistical purposes. This protection is there in any situation. Some of you saw my Facebook post recently where I said one of my requests to the protection had been, oh, come on, please bring me to the most Instagrammable photo today. It's because, I love my fashion and color. Please guide me to the perfect picture that will surprise and delight me and all my lovely friends and audience. And lo and behold, the spiritual protection not only guided me to the right backgrounds, walls, but had me in the exact clothing that looked best with that wall, so that the picture came out as though I had gone home and changed to get ready because I found a wall. That wasn't the case. The case was that I find these beautiful colored houses and walls, and I happened to be in the correct outfit whereby the photo came out just beautifully, just fun. This spiritual protection does not discriminate about your requests. Let it help you. Invite it in. Set your intention. Get out of the way. Be grounded enough that you hear it. And even if you don't feel grounded enough to hear it, it's okay. Just know that it's there. Notice it. It'll grow. Let it take care of you in your business too, because it's there. Do we have any questions at this point? Any comments? Any ahas? Any realizations? Please feel free to come on live if you'd like to. Don't worry if not. Get a sense of this in your own life. I've spoken a lot about examples from my life. I'm not unique to this. There's nothing special that's different in your life. It may just require some tuning in, some remembering, a lot of allowing. And it's not that I don't live in the storms. At times I really do. some places still look stormy and scary to me. But even then, I notice that in that storminess and that scariness, that's when we tend to completely let go and invite the spiritual protection more fully. It's like, oh my God, we just can't keep living in this survival mode experience anymore. So it actually creates a yearning that allows the spiritual protection to take over. There's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. Sometimes it is in that challenge that we finally get out of the way and it can come rushing in. Sometimes, like in the example I gave at the beginning, where we are hit with a catastrophic experience in our life, a trauma, a tragedy, sometimes the spiritual protection just is, even without your inviting it. It's just there cushioning you, comforting you, giving to you. I see a few comments here. Mary Pierre says, I love this topic, always noticing it and always grateful for it. It's true that I don't believe it can happen in business, only for my own protection. It's interesting, Mary Pierre, you know, we all have our blind spots. And for some people, the business aspect, or as I call it, the service aspect, more and more, can look like it's not available there. But that's just what we've made up. There was a time in my business where I really used to worry. It never occurred to me to invite spiritual protection. And maybe I was, but it was more in the form of worry, praying from a place of worry. That wasn't trustworthy. That was just more noise. What shifted for me in that direction was really seeing that I was letting Bob the drunk guy in my head make up a lot of stories about where God wasn't available. And as I began to see that more clearly, it was almost like I was beginning to look down onto my thinking. It stopped making sense to listen to that. I had another experience where I used to get a feeling of anxiety, and it would be like quite palpable. And I thought that feeling meant something about my business. Ironically, this was during a moment when there was absolutely so much flow in my business that I don't know why on earth I would have been worried. But looking back, I thought this feeling meant something about my business. And then I was walking along one day and it occurred to me, I've just made that up. This feeling isn't feedback about my business. This feeling is feedback about the way I'm thinking. I'm scaring myself. That's all. Wow, that was a game changer. As you get less concerned about any feeling you're in, the feeling can pass through and you can get on with your life and your business. But the spiritual protection is there in all areas. It's not discriminating about, well, I'll be here for you in business, but I won't be here for you in health. Or I'll be here for you, Grace, when you want to do Instagram photos. But no, if you're going to choke on a boat, I'm not going to be there. Like it doesn't work like that. It doesn't judge and it doesn't care. It's trying to get you to grow. And it's not interested in you growing through pain or growing through pleasure. It's just interested in you just being supported, not in survival mode. Oh, good. I'm glad that was helpful, Marie-Pierre. Thank you for your message. Divya says, thank you so much. As always, your coaching is so grounding. Gotta go. Okay, Divya. So I really hope this is helpful. I hope that you're hearing something more clearly for yourself or more deeply. It's a learning. This isn't a mental thing, remember. This is so much deeper than a mental thing. So it's more a feeling that you begin to live in and that you begin to trust in. And when you're not there, that's okay too. Because remember, when you're not there and you're living in the storm and you're living in the insecurity, you're living in the worry, believe it or not, that gets to a point of intolerance. Because for any of you showing up here, you are more interested in well-being than anything else, living in that feeling of well-being. So when you are in the worry and the stress and the insecurity, it will become so intolerant to you that it will create a yearning for the spiritual protection to finally support you. And that yearning might be conscious, it might be unconscious, it might be in the form of an invitation mentally or spiritually or verbally, or it might not. I have heard of many people who didn't believe in anything, who at some point in their life were just completely overcome by the spiritual protection to the point that they could no longer not believe. So you don't have to be out there mentally remembering this, friends. No. You just have to be deepening your trust that the very thing that is breathing you, digesting your food, healing your wounds, healing your heart, wakening you up in the morning, putting you to sleep at night, is available for you in all areas. So at this point, I'd just like to take a couple of minutes before we finish, just to share a little bit about an opportunity to go deeper. You've heard me probably in the last week or two talk about a new chapter. And I'm delighted to say that our doors are now open to the possibility of you engaging your own new chapter. I'm going to drop a link for you in the box here because I'm glad to say that we have a link for this particular program. And if you'd like to go deeper and you're interested in allowing yourself to experience more of that divine mind connection, And simply, if you're just getting a lot out of experiencing the clinics here with me, and you're noticing that you go away feeling grounded, you're noticing that it really helps you each time you're showing up, this is an opportunity for us to take the coaching to another level by engaging for 4 consecutive weeks together, commencing on May 13th. And we'll spend 90 minutes per session with a lovely group going into the exploration of your new chapter. Now, your new chapter may not be clear to you right now, which is another reason that the initial weeks of the program will be important for you. But you'll know if it's something you want to explore, if there's a feeling in you that is wanting something fresh and new, wanting to do things differently, wanting to stop living scattered and afraid and out of control and not having a lot of confidence. This particular program is going to allow us to go much deeper into connecting with divine mind's direction for us and deepening our trust and our confidence around this spiritual protection that is guiding us through. So some of the things that you can expect to walk away with from the program, and again, I'll just drop the link for you so you can see it in a moment, but you can expect to go from scattered to focus as you reconnect with yourself and deepen your relationship with divine mind. You can expect to gain crystal clarity on what you want to do next and where to start, so you can begin to write the script of your life instead of watching it fly by. And I think this is an important factor that I really want to hone in on. Your new chapter is about writing a new story about yourself. You may have been telling yourself the same story for years or months, but you'll know if you're fed up with that story by the way you feel. So this new chapter is about beginning a new story, a new script of your life and your business. And that might be in business. It might be a new script where your impact is concerned, or how much you're charging and how much you're delivering is concerned, or just how you show up visibly is concerned. Or it might be a new script where your entire life is concerned, you know, just the way you're doing life. You know, you constantly living where you're having to say yes to everybody else and you're not having anything for yourself left over, or you constantly living whereby you just feel that it's flying by and you've nothing to show for it. You know, either way, getting this clarity is there to support you in writing a new chapter, having a new script, telling yourself a new story that becomes manifest in the world. Another thing you can expect as a result of going deeper in this coaching program is you can expect to open up your bandwidth energetically and mentally, so you can call in bigger things. It is very difficult to attract anything when you're living in survival mode, when your mental bandwidth is low and energetically you're shut down because you're anxious and stressed and worried all the time. So if for no other reason you were to engage this program, that alone would be worth it, to open up that bandwidth mentally and energetically to call in bigger things. You can expect to cultivate a stronger and clearer connection with your wisdom versus your insecure thinking. This way, you'll experience a gentler internal world, making choices and decisions you won't regret. You can expect to receive practical steps on creating your new chapter. You'll get a lot of coaching time with me. It'll be quite different to the clinics in the sense that we will be able to go deeper on your specific scenario. And there'll be more of that coaching interaction versus teaching and sharing interaction. You can start taking action in alignment, creating success instead of dependencies. So if you're currently dependent on other people to provide for you financially, or if you find yourself dependent on things that aren't helpful to you or your health or your well-being, this will support you. You'll begin to take action in alignment, okay, creating that success instead of being dependent. You'll feel renewed as you give yourself the space and time to blossom into your new chapter. You'll have more impact if you're a coach or a healer or a teacher, or you're in the service industry where you're really supporting other people. You'll have a lot more impact with those you're serving as a result of refueling yourself this way, learning new things, and regaining control and confidence within yourself and divine mind support. Okay. You'll be with a wonderful group of people who will soothe your soul and help you remember the power that you have at your core. So sometimes, I know for me, there's just been a lovely additional benefit to engaging group coaching because of the people I've met, because of the souls around me and the questions they have asked. There are things that you will see that you just wouldn't even know were there for you to see because someone in the group asked the question. And to me, that's priceless, because sometimes we're so narrow visioned about what we need help with that we don't see the other things. And yet I've noticed in the groups, there's a synchronicity that comes through with other people that join. It's always the right group. It's always the right amount of people. And it's always the right questions that come forth. Okay. I'm going to drop the link for you here just to let you know right now there is, it's a 4-week program starting May 13th, every Friday for 4 weeks. 90-minute calls with replays. There'll be a Facebook group too to support us. So we have our private interaction there each day. It's currently valued and on at £297. Okay. I don't know what that is in dollars, but until April 30th, you can get the program for £247 plus, for the first 10 people who register, you get a private one-to-one session with me priced at £300. So that's rather valued at £300. It's not that you're paying an extra £300. And you get a second bonus until April 30th, which is the 6-week mastermind, Manifesting Money and Miracles. So if you would like support around money and calling in more miracles in your life, that particular recorded course is fabulous for that. We had so many results from that program. And that's valued at £333. So all in all, it's a program with bonuses and an early bird offer of over £1,000. And you're getting it until April 30th for £247. If you'd like to sign up, I've sent the link on the messages here, www.gracefulcoaching.net/your-new-chapter/. I know some of you are already joining, so I'm looking forward to having you there. And in the meantime, get in touch if you have any questions. I'm looking forward to being with you in a deeper way. And I will see you next week for our next coaching clinic. I hope this has been helpful today. And lots of love from Mexico. I'm off to Cancun tomorrow and back home to Italy from from Saturday, Friday, Saturday. I'll be back in the country on Saturday. All right. Lots of love, everybody. Take care. Bye. Thanks, Marie Pierre. I saw your message.